All right, so I am finally at a natural stopping point on the 87 pickup. I just finished the heater core on the Tacoma. And so what I feel like is I'm at a really good natural stopping point where I'm like, all right, it is now September, it's almost October, temperature's really good. I've had this big to-do thing on my list, which is to repaint the front of the truck again. I'm gonna pull it out in the sun and I'm gonna walk you around and so you help you understand why I'm repainting. Because every time I tell somebody I'm gonna repaint it this weekend, they're like, "Why? That thing looks great." Not for me. I did a horrible job. I didn't do a horrible job. I could have done better. I'm gonna show you what some of the defects are that I can't live with, and we're gonna redo them. All right, so I got the truck out in the sun. I'm gonna show you defect number one, which is paint coverage. If you watched my earlier videos when I talked a little bit more about how I painted the truck and what some of the issues that I had. One was the big thing is I painted the bed and the cab at different times. So because I did that, I ended up having them do it at different stages. But because I changed the color to jet black, I didn't think it was gonna be that much of an issue because technically jet black is jet black, and I could pop it off. I could pop a door off, paint it, put it right back on, and I wouldn't have to blend any of the other panels just because it's jet black, right? One of the reasons you blend the panel is because you want to make sure that the metallic flake looks good on the next panel. Anyways, so issue number one, and I don't know if you could tell from this distance. Let me turn you around. All right, so this is by far the biggest issue I have with the truck. I painted the truck at two different stages. I painted the bed at one stage and then the cabin at another stage. And if you take a look in the sun, what you see is a little bit of sealer bleeding through the black base coat. The bed, I'm hoping the camera picks it up. I can see it through the screens here, so I should be able to pick it up. The bed is much, it's much darker. It's much more black than the back. I mean, if you were just to take a look at the front end, you're like, hey man, it's a black truck. But when you compare it to the bed, it's like, it's black, or it's charcoal or whatever. Anyways, so that's reason number one. Is just the inconsistency. Now, I did have some issues. I had the power go out, and then it cut out the cut out the compressor, and then of course I kind of had to pick between having light or air. So I had set up a bunch of lights, and then I had just had to run the air compressor, and this is what I ended up with, which is just a very light coat. I mean, you can see a couple of areas where it got really heavy, like you see right here, on the edge. It got a little heavier, like that's how dark it should have been. And I'm gonna get to issue number two. This is a burn mark, by the way. This white line right here is a burn mark, which is, I might as well get into issue number two right now, which is, it's kind of hard to pick up, but at a certain angle, like here, I don't know if you could see that, but there's almost like these little crystallized, they look like little clear, there you go. They just look like little bumps in the clear coat. And it's around the whole truck. If you can look past the fingerprints, I know it's really bad here up on this upper level here. Again, I'm hoping you could pick it up, but that is solvent pop. And the reason I get solvent pop was, there's a couple of different reasons that you can get solvent pop. One, using the wrong mixture of solvents, which is one of the reasons I got it. And another one is you're putting on your second coat while the first one's still not done flashing off. That's another reason why I got solvent pop. So initially, that's another reason why I'm painting it, is I can't live with the solvent pop. It looks ridiculous. The bed doesn't have it. I know I can paint without it, but the things I'm going to change on the second go around is I'm going to change it. I already changed the type of hardener I'm getting in reducer. So one of the reasons, like I mentioned, I got that solvent pop was because the solvents in the paint are trying to bleed through and come out the surface. See how I did that? Anyways, they're trying to bleed through and cut out the surface, or come through the surface. And if it's doing it too quickly, instead of just kind of self-leveling itself out again, it leaves an indentation, like a little reverse bubble indentation. And that's what that solvent pop is. And then the other reason is because, again, the first issue I think was I used it too fast of a hardener and too fast of a reducer. So it kind of skimmed over that coat and didn't let that bubble go through. So what was happening is the solvents in the clear coat are trying to like come out through the clear itself, and if I use too fast of a reducer or too fast of a hardener, it would skim, the top layer would kind of skim over, and it's really hard for that bubble to pop out. And finally, when it does, instead of that top layer kind of just leveling itself back out again, it leaves an indentation. And that's what you're seeing, is these little indentations in the clear coat of solvents that were trying to escape, and they weren't able to fully escape while the clear was still soft enough to level itself out. Hopefully I'm explaining that correctly. So what I'm doing this time is I'm changing the reducer. I changed the reducer to a slower reducer. So it's gonna keep, it's gonna give the solvents enough time to get out without that skimming. So I'm changing the hardener and I'm changing the reducer to a slower reducer. And also another thing was, you know, like I mentioned before, one of the reasons you get solvent pop is when you're putting the other layer without letting the first layer fully flash out. And I put 4 coats of clear on this. That's a lot of clear. I mean, that really is. That's a lot of clear. And I knew it was going to be a lot of clear, and I really tried to not clear coat it. But, you know, you get impatient, and, you know, you're doing stuff in the garage, and like, so it could have been absolutely been a combination of just having too much clear and not having the right solvents. So this time I'm going to take my time. I'm going to set some sort of timer. I'm going to do something so that I can be patient. I've read the TDSs, the technical data sheets, and, you know, I've stuck to that, but it's just a matter of being patient. And also, like I said, last time I think I painted it in June, July, so it was a little hotter, which makes that clear coat skim over even faster. This time selecting hopefully a better month, it'll be a little bit better. And then the other reason I'm painting, this is another I can't live with, is door jambs. So again, I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but there's some gray sealer that somehow bled through the door jambs, and it's not dirt. I had painted the door jambs beforehand, but when I did this, when I painted this, I got some sealer bleed through. So another thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to tint my sealer, because I mean, I'm going to resand all this. I'm going to go down with some 400 and 600, and wherever I bleed through, I'm going to go ahead and use the sealer again. And then the sealer I'm going to tint black, so God forbid there be any more bleed through, you won't be able to notice. You can't really tell it. You can't really tell too well because of the light. But if you look real closely right here in the sunlight, I think you could see it in one of my other videos. I mean, it is obvious that sealer is bleeding through, and that's just because I wasn't able to bend down to get under there well enough, and I just didn't get enough black coats on it. All right, so now the process is I'm going to go ahead and get the truck prepped for paint. Number one is I'm going to go ahead and start taking everything off. So first thing that's going to come off, I'll go ahead and I'll show you. First thing I'm going to do to get this thing ready is I'm going to go ahead and take the bumpers. I'm going to take the bumper off, the headlights, and the grill. That's all got to come off. I'm going to go around the interior. To get the interior, I'm going to pop open the interior and have to take these door panels off so that I can get to this door handle. These are not factory door handles. I actually bought these aftermarket and painted them and cleared them. They're painted black and cleared black. The factory ones were chrome. But, you know, again, I'm going to have to paint these doors. So the reason I'm taking everything off is I'm going to go ahead and take everything off, mask it, take this weather stripping off. I might take the seats out, but I definitely have to take the trim off. And then basically my plan is to paint the door jambs first, get the door jambs completed the way they should be, and then close this and then do the outside how I would normally do it. I thought about, you know, taking the doors off and then painting them at the same time, since I talked a lot of crap about, you know, them being jet black. But in reality, I'm just going to do it what I think is the right way. And, you know, again, this is a DIY job in a garage. And then there's no hurry. I'm going to go ahead, take the weather stripping off, back tape everything, get these panels off, get everything masked off. And then I'm going to dedicate some spray time just to the both door jambs. And then let it dry, close it back up. So then by the time I'm done prepping the rest of the outside, that'll be, you know, dried for a day or two, and I can go ahead and back mask it for paint on the outside. So then while I'm in there, another reason I'm taking these panels off is I got to take the mirrors off as well. So the mirrors are going to come off, door handles are going to come off. I'm going to pop these windows out, back mask the inside. I am not going to mess with the rear window, and I am not going to mess with the windshield. I'm just going to leave those in. I'm not a fan of that, but I don't want to take them off. I just got to be real careful, grabbing some fine line tape, maybe something to wedge underneath it to give it a gap. And then, like I said, by then I'll have, like I said, the bumper's going to be off, grille's going to be off, headlights, mirror, door handles, all this weather stripping is going to come off. I'm going to replace this finally. I'm finally going to go ahead and buy new ones of these. These are horrible. And then wet sand the entire truck. Oh, I can't forget the tail light. Then I'm going to wet sand the entire truck with, I'm going to say 400. I'll probably use a block on the sides because there's some ripples I got to get out. There's a run or two. These small little runs, I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up, but there's a couple of runs I got to address just to make sure they don't get lost in the other commotion there. So I'm going to address that run first. I think there was a dent down here. So like I said, this is all the stuff I'm gonna take a look at, address what I can while I'm there. There's really not a whole lot. So if I can, I'm just gonna go ahead and wet sand with 400, block it with 400, wet sand it, knock it back down with 600, and then just seal it with some black sealer, base coat. Can't forget the antenna. And I am changing clears as well, so I'm gonna try and go another 4 coats of clear, because again, the ultimate goal here is once I'm done with this and I have everything matching, I'm gonna let it do its thing, fully cure, and then do the second process of the flow coat, which is another 4 coats of clear. So once I get the foundation of the coverage down, I'm gonna change over to a high solids, like a European or 2-to-1 clear coat, to protect the exterior and really make that pop as well. So it's hot out here. All right, so there you go. That's the update. That's where I'm at. I wanted to do it before because I get anxious and I just want to go ahead and jump into it. I would have had this sanded. I've been sanding little things here and there just to kind of practice on the clear coat as far as my buffing capabilities. But I've been wanting to do this for a while, and one of the reasons I haven't was because I got to do a before video. I got to explain why I can't live with certain things. And again, a lot of this more so is just for my documentation as well, so I can see how the truck has progressed throughout the years. So, but like, if you've seen this one, I don't know if checking my check below. There are some previous videos on this Tacoma, kind of just showing you what I've done. And this is I'm restoring this truck. I bought it in Florida. It was in really bad shape from a cosmetic standpoint. And that's all I really done. I mean, the engine, I did the timing chain or timing belt. I did the heater core. These are little things that I just throw on the list of, things to do. But the paint job, this is, I want to get this out. This is a big check. So I do have another 87 Toyota pickup that I'm getting ready to restore, but I wanted to start with this one first. So absolutely, by all means, check that video if you can. It's a little 2-wheel drive 87 pickup I bought also from Florida. I got plans for that one. I'm gonna keep this one probably as stock as possible, but that 87 is gonna be different. It's gonna be cool. I got some plans for that. I already got some feelers out. I'm gonna probably pop a V8 in there or something. Anyways, thanks again for checking out my video. Hopefully after this there should be a follow-up with the actual after. You probably won't get a finalized painted or finalized polished, because you gotta let that cure. But I'm gonna let that cure for a while, and then while the bumper's off, I have some plans for a hidden winch as well. So anyways, hit that subscribe button. It feels so weird saying that, but if you like what I've showed you today and you take a look at my other videos and you saw, hey, you want to follow along, hit that, and then that way you can keep up with my truck. All right, thank you.